What's going on, fellas? My name is Sid, and welcome back to the Sid Plus channel, where we are talking progression. See, Playground Games said that in Forza Horizon 6, there will be a huge overhaul when it comes to progression. But the real question is, was that actually true? Because when you look back at previous Forza Horizon games, especially Forza Horizon 5, progression has always been kind of weird. You get thrown into the festival, you get gifted cars constantly, you unlock fast cars early, and there is barely any real sense of starting from the bottom and working your way up. Now, don't get me wrong. There is the showcase events, there's expeditions, accolades, the festival playlist, and everything in between. But Forza Horizon has always struggled to feel like a proper journey. Instead, it's felt more like a car sandbox game, like you went into Minecraft creative mode. It's just sort of a do whatever you want. But by this point, that has become the identity of Forza Horizon. Freedom is what makes the series what it is. But unfortunately, that has also meant that progression has never really been that strong compared to other racing games. When you start in a slow car, earn money, upgrade step by step, and slowly make your way to the top. They, of course, know that. They know that other racing games do that. And they know that people want that. So with Forza Horizon 6, they are trying to change that. So from what we've seen, there is two main ways of progressing in this game. The first is the Festival tab, where you can unlock new races, events, and rewards tied to the festival itself. This part of the game is all the festival and the progression you do through the festival. So instead of everything here being available instantly, Playground and Forza are able to control what you unlock and when you unlock it. And the other one is the Explore tab. This one is more focused on discovery. Things like the treasure cars, barn finds, and other rewards are now tied into this system. Oh, speaking of one of those rewards. If I did have to draw a comparison for anything like this in the old games, it would definitely be the accolade system in Forza Horizon 5, where you complete different challenges to get rewards. Except this time, they're more directly connected to what you actually unlock during the game. These are the first big steps towards a different progression in Forza Horizon 6. But then, another big change is the class restriction system. People have talked about how things they do in DLCs is often them trying stuff for the next game. And that's really what this feels like in relation to the Hot Wheels expansion back in Forza Horizon 5. In that expansion, you couldn't just jump in and dominate every race in the absolute fastest cars you had instantly. Instead, you had to work to be allowed to use your cars at a higher and higher level. Even if you wanted to use a slow car and bring it with you through all of the different classes, you could only do that by progressing. This was a brilliant way of doing it because it actually added structure to the progression. It added rewards on your step up, and it added a new feeling to the car every time you went up each level, adding emphasis to that jump in power not instantly being an X. So bringing that idea into Forza Horizon 6 made complete sense. It lets the game guide you through those slower cars, the mid-tier cars, and eventually the really fast cars, instead of just handing you a hypercar in your first hour and calling it a day. Except, well, could you really still consider this progression? I mean, don't get me wrong, what I just described is progression, and is probably what was vaguely intended, but this is Forza Horizon after all. Because if you have the premium edition of the game, you are going to unlock those very, very fast cars very early, regardless of what class restrictions they put on you. Like this Ferrari FXXK Evo, the welcome pack car. An insanely fast, literally only 1 point off of the highest class in the entire game, and you get it straight away. But that's the obvious one. It doesn't just stop there. You can also be gifted cars in this game. You can still get cars from the wheel spin. There's the car pack that adds a car every single week for the first 30 weeks of the game. And all of the usual Forza ways of getting cars. So as much as I love the idea of this new progression that they tried and that they implemented, it falls flat whenever trying to consider this close to like a hardcore progression rags to riches story. Unfortunately, if you have riches IRL, you don't gotta have rags in game. But even still, you could have rags and someone rich could just give you their riches while going through the game. I'm a massive fan of them adding actual progression to the game, with that class structure, with the festival tab, and the fact that exploration actually means something now. On a map this beautiful, especially compared to Mexico, I'm glad that there's purpose. As far as the actual races go, the class restrictions help it feel like you're actually making your way from the bottom to the top, not instantly getting to race against people in those mega speedy cars, for the most part. But I also don't think that all of this culminates in that massive progression change that people were expecting. I know I was at least hoping for. Especially when you look at how the game actually starts. You begin as a tourist. That's good on paper. That makes sense, and already it feels like something new. Because that's what we are. We aren't mega super duper pro racer already. We're someone new to this location, to this world, technically to this festival. We have to earn our place. But again, in practice, it feels like something different. It feels like just a elongated tutorial period, because you start the game and it's only a few races until you're accepted into the festival with open arms and handed 3 more starter cars on top of the starter cars you already have. Just like a short intro where you're kind of in rags until immediately you are shifted back into what Forza Horizon has kind of always been. Until the game instantly, as quick as possible, reverts back to normal. And I think right there is my main issue with Forza Horizon 6. The game does seem to have better progression than Forza Horizon 5, but it definitely isn't a complete fix. It would even fall shy of maybe being mostly fixed. The game adds more direction, more unlocks, more reasons to explore, and all of that should get the credit it deserves, but it still isn't that zero to hero racing game. You're still that no name, no voice protagonist who just absolutely destroys every race. And it's a shame that no one's really providing that kind of game anywhere anymore in racing games, especially with Need for Speed gone. Look, I do think this is a step in the right direction, and I don't want to knock that. This shouldn't be like, oh, well, I won't bother then. The Festival tab and the Explore tab make the game feel more organized. The class restrictions add a bit of build-up to the races and make them feel a bit more interesting. But I think Playground Games here definitely played it safe, which, when you're in Japan and you're gearing up for your biggest release ever, I guess that's what you have to do. They've only improved the Horizon Festival formula. They've not reinvented it here. So when they say the progression is a huge overhaul, I would say yes and no. Yes, it clearly has more structure and more build-up than before, but no, it's not that deep progression, the traditional progression that a lot of racing fans are looking for. But of course, this whole video has been a piece of opinion. And what's the best thing to do when someone tells you their opinion on the internet? Well, it's to, you know, yell and scream yours in return. So, what do you think? Do you like the new direction that Forza Horizon 6 progression has gone, or do you think the game doesn't achieve what it might be going for? Which version of the game did you get? Because that will also change what you probably thought of how much you get early on in the game. So let me know in the comments, but of course, civil discussion. I expect replies, I expect discussion. That's gonna be about it from me in a bit.